All right, welcome to Wrestling Uncensored. Today on the show, was this the worst draft the WWE has ever done? We are 1 week away from WWE Hell in a Cell. A lot of moves, a lot of things happening in World Wrestling Entertainment. The draft is over, Big Johnny. Johnny North is here. RingsideReport.net is our website. Go check us out. That's the online home. Don't forget, hey, Johnny, sorry. Whoops. There goes Johnny. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and when you subscribe, click the bell so you get notifications every time that we are on. Wrestling Uncensored, this show, dropping every Saturday morning at 11 a.m., and of course, Ringside Report MMA every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Support our sponsors. Manscaped, go to manscaped.com. Use that promo code Ringside20 for 20% off your order plus free shipping. Manscaped.com, promo code Ringside20. Stitcher, go to stitcher.com/premium. Use that promo code Ringside, and you get a free month when you sign up to Stitcher Premium. Stitcher.com/premium, promo code Ringside. And IPVanish, vpn.ringsidereport.net. More on that later. Let's get to business at hand, Big Johnny. We're talking about it before the show. This is a draft week. We're trying to come up with, the big story. What's the big story? What's the deal? What's the big draft story? It's a draft. We saw a lot of people move around, but we couldn't really come up with one. And you brought up an interesting point, saying that this might be the worst draft ever. Is it the worst draft they've ever done? I remember some drafts where, the world champions would switch sides. All sorts of things would happen. John Cena showing up. Remember when Chris Jericho was in the ring and Cena was a surprise draft pick for Raw? Massive reveal, right? We've had some big moments in the draft. This used to be something that wrestling fans would look forward to. This draft came and went. And New Day broke up. The Fiend moved over to Raw, but so did Alexa Bliss and so did Nikki Cross. Seth Rollins moved over to SmackDown, but so did Rey Mysterio and so did Dominic and, so did Murphy. So nothing really changed. Just the stories that you were seeing on Raw have moved to SmackDown and vice versa. That's really the biggest thing that's happened. As far as the superstars that have moved around, Seth going to SmackDown, Fiend going to Raw. Other than that, it's a lot of meh. Nothing great. Nothing great, Johnny.
The big surprise was Lars Sullivan coming back. I mean, he hasn't really proven himself on the main roster, so him coming back, it's not that really big of a deal. It's thanks for finally showing up.
The Freak. Don't just call him Lars Sullivan, John. It's the Freak, Lars Sullivan. The Freak. Oh, here comes the Freak. His match with Jeff Hardy on SmackDown, it wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
Right? He had a match with Jeff Hardy on SmackDown this week. I didn't think it was that bad. You didn't like it?
I felt Lars seemed very out of place in that match. It seemed like he didn't know how to move around with Jeff Hardy's moves. It just seemed like he seemed out of place. I understand, he hasn't wrestled in a long time, so you're going to kind of feel that rusty a bit, but I just felt like he didn't belong with Jeff Hardy. He didn't know how to take Jeff's moves.
He's clunky, but nothing went horribly wrong, right? No, I didn't see any major mistakes. Seemed like it went according to plan for the most part.
For the most part, but why is he doing a splash off the top? I mean, you're that big, and Jeff Hardy, he's that small. Why do you have to splash him? That didn't really make a lot of sense. I like him coming up, before Jeff can even do the Swanton. The finish made sense. Mm-hmm. I don't think Jeff needed to be out about the whole injury. I mean, he's been injured, every week, so you had to throw another injury for Jeff Hardy just to save him. I didn't like that kind of stuff. To me, it takes away from the match.
Took away from Lars Sullivan being the Freak and the monster because, he beat Jeff Hardy, but an injured Jeff Hardy, right? So they had to kind of save it for Jeff. But as far as the draft, Lars Sullivan, that's the big return. That's the big Surprise? And really?
Well, also you got to see the Authority come back. Wasn't that wonderful to see Triple H and Stephanie in the ring, then making fun of the entire roster all over again?
I don't know why they were on SmackDown this week. Were they just there because it's the season premiere of SmackDown? They start the show, they're in the ring, they talk about the draft, they talk about all the matches that are coming up on SmackDown tonight. Talk about different superstars, and then they just kind of disappear when everybody gets into a big brawl. Stephanie announcing the draft picks was not good. Stephanie coming out saying, well, this person's going to Raw, this person's going to SmackDown. It wasn't really clear who was drafting for Raw, who was drafting for SmackDown. And right off the bat, right, the first draft picks on SmackDown last week, they told you right away. I think the first pick was Drew McIntyre is staying on Raw. And then right away they tell you, and Roman Reigns, who happens to be the Universal Champion, is staying on SmackDown. Those were the first two picks, and nothing changed. Those are the first big announcements. That's how the draft started. They started off with, nothing's changing. Your champions are staying. They don't even drag it out where you wonder, well, they haven't said Roman or Drew yet. Are they going to move them? They didn't do that at all. Last week on SmackDown, they're like, yeah, Roman's staying, Drew's staying. This draft is meaningless. It means nothing. They're telling you right off the bat, this is a bad draft. We're not really going to do much. We're just going to make some minor tweaks here and there. But nothing major really happened. Nothing. My big return was Daniel Bryan. I saw Daniel Bryan on SmackDown this week. No fanfare at all for the return of Daniel Bryan. I mean, he did a promo. They mentioned him. He was there, but wasn't like, oh, Daniel Bryan's back. Celebration, you know. It was just like, oh, yeah, Daniel Bryan's back. He's been away for a while. He had a kid. Here he is.
Well, this goes back to Stephanie making fun of him, like called him a B-plus player on Raw. They just had to throw that back in there because that always will never die, apparently, that feud. But it was nice that you got to see his wife and his kid like on the Thunderdome, like as virtual fans. That was kind of cool.
Yeah. Daniel Bryan did a promo there, and I liked what he said to Seth Rollins, how Seth comes out, and he's like, oh, Daniel Bryan, I'm the savior of SmackDown, and you got to bow down to me because I'm this guy. And then Daniel Bryan's like, look, your vision is short-sighted, self-centered, and kind of dumb. He's like, I hear what you're saying, and it's kind of dumb. I don't really like it. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. It is kind of dumb, all this stuff he's saying. And then Seth is like mad. He punches Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan turns the tables. Seth runs out of the ring. But then Ray and Dominic show up. And Seth is kind of like, hey, Daniel Bryan, why don't you team up with me to help me beat up Ray and Dominic? And Daniel Bryan's like, I don't know about that. Why would I do that? It made no sense. And Bryan kind of looked and pretended like he was going to do it for a second, but then he was like, no, I'm just going to let the Mysterios beat you up. And then Bryan just left the ring, and that was all you saw from Daniel Bryan. Of course, you got to see the continuation of the Mysterio family versus Seth Rollins, and Murphy emerged. Murphy shows up. He's been drafted to SmackDown. I'm not talking about Raw. I'm talking about SmackDown right now. Murphy's there. He slides in the ring, and it looks like he's going to help Seth with Dominic and Ray and beat them up. But then he turns on Seth, and he starts beating up on Seth. And then Seth runs away. And Murphy's like, I guess, dating Aaliyah or something at this point. I don't know what the deal is, but he seems to be in some sort of relationship, either, just a friendship or more with Rey Mysterio's daughter. He goes to shake Ray's son Dominic's hand. Dominic refuses the handshake. Rey Mysterio also declines the handshake from Murphy, and the Mysterio men walk away from Murphy. What a return for Daniel Bryan. He's involved in this nonsense.
Well, I mean, the anticipation for him against Seth Rollins. I think that's what people are going to look forward to. I mean, that should be a very good matchup. They've wrestled before in Ring of Honor, so that should be a really good match, you would imagine. I just find his return, it really takes away because you had this stupid, like, fake crowd noise. And then he has to sell the fake crowd noise, saying how amazing the Thunderdome is when everyone knows it's just fake crowd noise and it's not really that kind of atmosphere there. And to me, it's hard to get into these segments when I know like it's just all fake crowd noise.
They need to do fewer in-ring promos in the Thunderdome. It's not good. It sounds bad. Just do the backstage promos. Do more backstage than in-ring. Every time they're in the ring doing a promo, like that New Day promo, if that had a crowd, it would have been fantastic, right? Like they got emotional. They talked about their history and how they're breaking up now because Woods and Kofi have to move over to Raw. They got drafted, and Big E stays on SmackDown. So they're very sad, and Woods was crying, and Kofi was crying, and Big E got emotional. It was a really good promo, really emotional stuff. If you're a fan of the New Day, it's good stuff. But
questionable.
What do you mean? Well, I mean, with the crowd noise behind it, it didn't sound right. It was weird, I liked it, and I got the emotion. I felt the emotion watching it, but it was lacking. If there was a real crowd there, it would have sounded and looked a lot better. Would have been way better.
Well, I agree. The problem is the setting, but also the problem is the fact that Raw and SmackDown are held at the same place every week. So it's not like they couldn't possibly see each other. The pay-per-views, it's Raw and SmackDown together, so it's not like it's possible they won't see each other. Oh, boo-hoo, they can't wrestle with each other. Like, I haven't wrestled for almost a year, but they get to wrestle. So, I don't shed any tears for these people whatsoever.
Oh, wow. I mean, they're friends, and at some point the wrestling business is going to go back to normal, and they're going to start traveling, and they're not going to all be together. Nothing.
Yeah, but apparently it looks like they're not planning to travel until, 2022.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Well, we're going to have another draft by the time, they could possibly be doing this, so they might be okay by then.
And they'll for sure put them together at some point too, right?
Well, do they ever stay true to the draft? I find they never do. So why worry about I don't believe in these tiers. Sure, they actually believe in what they're saying. It's sad for them, but there are worse things that have happened. They're not really separating. They're just not teaming with each other. Boo hoo.
They're kind of separating. They're on different shows. If you work on Raw, you're not going to go to SmackDown, right?
No, remember that stupid wildcard rule? They can still wrestle apparently at least four times a year.
Yeah. But I'm saying, on a normal Monday night when Kofi Kingston goes into work, he's not going to see Big E like he normally would every other time he went into work for the past 8 years, right? It's a change.
They'll still probably see each other at the pay-per-views.
Okay,
it's
John.
not the end of the world for them.
Okay. No love for the New Day from Johnny North.
None.
No emotion. Just cold-hearted. I love that, man. I love your fire. So what? They can't wrestle together. I haven't wrestled for a year, damn it. Johnny's getting mad. He's getting heated.
You want to get sad. I mean, that's sad. When you haven't wrestled a long time, then you can tell me about how bad you feel. Then I believe it. But you guys always wrestle every week. I'm not shedding any tears for these guys at all. Oh no, they have a terrible thing. They have to go to the same place every week. Horrible, horrible conditions.
Yeah. Making, millions of dollars as well. Johnny's not feeling
well.
that.
They deserve that though. I mean, they worked hard for that. But
they're very good.
They can't team with each other. Too bad.
I love it. Johnny, can I just mention something I don't like? That shirt that you're wearing, because in the way when I'm looking at you, it looks like, because a lot of people watch this show on a computer, right? It looks like there's a cursor on your chest. I know it's an
kind of funny
eye,
way of looking at it.
But the way I see it as like a cursor, and I'm like trying to move a mouse, but it doesn't change the shirt. I know it's the letter I, but it kind of looks like a cursor, and I think for some people watching, it might fake them out. That's all I'm saying. So don't wear that shirt anymore. Wear a cool shirt like mine, a Daniel Bryan shirt.
Well, this shirt is cool. It's just unfortunately the screen is big enough where you can't see everything. So I mean, this is awesome.
That's right.
And it's kind of like how I feel like right now. So
wow, yeah, you are really filled with rage and hatred in your heart, Johnny North. Let's try to cheer Johnny up.
you're gonna try to cheer me up. I mean, we're gonna talk about Raw soon. You know how hard it was, a struggle it was to watch Monday Night Raw this week?
Oh, let's stick to SmackDown then.
Well, yeah, please. Because Raw was tough.
Yeah, Raw was not great. Not great. I'm going to make fun of Eddie Kingston later. I think you might enjoy that. So get ready.
Yeah,
all right?
it cut off on him. That's too bad for him. I feel bad for him, actually.
Whatever. I'm going to make fun of him later. So I like him, but I'm going to make fun of him.
Whoa. Actually, he represented the Expos this week.
I know. I'm still going to make fun of him. I'm going to make fun of him for many different reasons. For the jersey and other things. Okay? But yeah, of course, go Expos. All day, every day. Go Yankees as well. Anyways, let's not talk about
next year.
it. Next year, baby. Next year. I watched, forget it. I don't even want to talk about it. It's not a Yankee show. This is a pro wrestling show. Because I watched Aaron Boone's press conference, and it was, it's interesting. It's good, though. Next year, baby. Next year. Go Yankees. Okay. SmackDown. New Day has their final match against Sheamus, Cesaro, and Shinsuke Nakamura. I like that they gave those guys as their last opponents. New Day, they love those guys. They love Sheamus and Cesaro, of course. They even talked about it on commentary, how Cesaro, they beat Cesaro and Tyson Kidd for the first ever tag team titles as a team. So it was cool to see those guys wrestling. Sheamus, Cesaro, of course, the Bar and the New Day had a bunch of matches. So it's good to see those 6 guys in the ring at the end there, and Big E getting the pinfall on Sheamus. Sheamus going to Raw. That ties a nice bow around their feud as well, Big E and Sheamus. Sheamus leaving the brand. Big E staying on SmackDown. And I do have to rub it in a little bit, Johnny North, because last week on this show, we knew that the New Day was leaving SmackDown. We knew that they were going to Raw, and they also won the SmackDown Tag Team Championship last week as they were drafted. And I told you that it was quite obvious to me that the Raw Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits, were going to be moving over to SmackDown, and they could do just like a title swap, and it wouldn't really matter, and we could just move on with our day. And you were like, no, I don't think so. I don't think the Street Profits are going to SmackDown. It doesn't make sense. You were really skeptical.
I said it's stupid. It's probably going to happen, but it's stupid.
I don't think you said it was going to happen. I think you said it was not going to happen. I think you
said it was stupid.
Yeah, but it seemed quite obvious to me that it was going to happen, and that's exactly what happened. Street Profits are now the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Kofi and Woods are the Raw Tag Team Champions. John is mad. You are mad today on the show. I like it. I like the rage from Johnny. Johnny Rage. Not bad.
Well, they're considering this as a new reign for both teams now. And both teams gleefully accepted it. Both face teams gleefully just accept a new title reign. Like, this makes no sense whatsoever.
What do you mean? It's not a new title reign.
It's supposed to be like babyface. No, they're considering this a new title reign. Look it up. WWE's saying this is a brand new title reign. The Street Profits title reign ended on Raw. So now this is a whole new reign now as a SmackDown Tag Champ. They count New Day as a new title reign for them as well. It's like 11-time tag champs now.
They announced themselves as 9-time champs.
On SmackDown, right? Yeah, because on SmackDown, I think they're like 9-time champs, aren't they, or something?
Oh, but overall, it's like 11 now?
I think it's something like that. I'm not 100% sure. But they're considering this a new title reign.
How do Woods and Kofi do an entrance without Big E doing the announce?
If you saw on Raw, it's just no like Big E thing. It's a new day. Yes, it is. That's it.
Not as good. But yeah, obviously the Street Profits moving over to SmackDown. And I think I also told you that Bianca Belair would go to SmackDown, and she did. She was drafted, right?
But she didn't even show up on SmackDown.
They had a video package. That's enough, I guess.
Wow, okay. This is the problem with SmackDown. You can't draft too many people on SmackDown because it's such a limited show. It goes by so fast. It's not like Raw where everyone can be on it. So a lot of people kind of get lost in the shuffle on SmackDown.
Yeah, they were tying up some loose ends, though, with some Raw people that were moving on, right? Like Jeff Hardy wrestled Lars Sullivan. He lost to Lars. Jeff Hardy's on Raw now, right? Sheamus and Cesaro and Shinsuke, they're all on Raw now, right? Didn't they all get drafted?
I feel like Nakamura and Cesaro stayed on SmackDown.
Oh, you're right. Sheamus just got drafted.
Right.
I have a list here. So The Fiend has gone to Raw. The Street Profits are now the SmackDown Tag Team Champions on the Blue brand. Braun Strowman is on Raw. Matt Riddle has gone to Raw, right? Riddle went to Raw. Kevin Owens moves to SmackDown. Jeff Hardy's on... Bad move, you think, for Kevin? We'll talk about it. Jeff Hardy goes to Raw. Lacey Evans goes to Raw.
That's good.
Elias is on Raw now. Elias returned. Come on, that's your big return. That's your big surprise. I like how they returned with Elias. We'll get to that, too. Sheamus is on Raw. Nikki Cross on Raw. Ziggler and Rude are now SmackDown, which I feel like they were always on SmackDown.
Yeah. No, they were on Raw. Remember, they were on SmackDown, got traded to Raw, I think, for AJ Styles.
Yeah, like not long ago.
I know. Well, AJ Styles wasn't, on Raw not long ago. No, he's back on Raw, so.
Yeah. Okay. They're like, Ziggler and Rude are on SmackDown now. And I'm like, are they still on SmackDown? That was another thing about why this draft was so terrible. Most of their announcements were like, this person is staying on this brand. And I'm like, well, why are you announcing that? Drafts never used to have that. They had so few announcements for this draft. They had so little for this thing that they gave you things that were already happening. They're like, yeah, Roman Reigns is staying on SmackDown. That's all. Like, they had nothing. They just, kept most of the things status quo. And then they're like, Lacey Evans is going to Raw. And people are like, okay. Dabba Kato stays on Raw. Okay. Cool.
Well, to be fair, I didn't know which brand Titus O'Neil was on, so the fact that he's staying on Raw, that was kind of eye-opening for me.
Why do they even announce that? It's embarrassing. Titus O'Neil stays on Raw. Okay. R-Truth and Akira Tozawa remain on Raw. Yeah. Great. They did nothing with this thing. It's a terrible
I just want to say, I was very disappointed. Like, Sami Zayn was, picked so low in the draft. I think he was, in the 4th round on Raw. And, that's the Intercontinental Champion right there. Why is he picked so low?
I don't know. Who's the U.S. champion? U.S. champion didn't even get an individual pick. U.S. champion is one pick that counts for 4 men. That's how low the U.S. champion, Bobby Lashley, right? He's part of the Hurt Business. And he's just part of 4 guys. He's one pick.
That's a smart pick, though, because you pick 4 guys, plus you got a champion. Kayfabe, that's amazing.
Well, why wouldn't you make them the first pick? You get 4 guys.
I think they were, one of the first picks for Raw, if I'm not mistaken, on the first night. But Sami Zayn, a champion, was picked, 4 rounds, deep on Raw. That didn't make any sense. Alexa Bliss got picked before Sammy did. I didn't understand that whatsoever.
She's the new thing. She's Alexa Bliss, okay? She's fiendish Alexa Bliss. Kevin Owens, you don't like him on SmackDown?
Well, the problem with Kevin on SmackDown, one, he won the feud right on Raw against Aleister Black.
Yeah.
So you think one of them would have stayed on that show?
Nope.
It's over, right?
Nope. And they had to
carry it over.
They faced off with each other at the beginning of the show when everybody was on the stage. Triple H and Stephanie are in the ring, and all the wrestlers are on the ramp. And they mentioned Kevin and Aleister, and they kind of faced off with each other. So that's not over. Kevin is Miz. He's a different Miz. He's a guy that they give a show to and talks. He's a guy that advances the storylines. It's kind of how they used Chris Jericho for many years. You know, they just did a bunch of highlight reels. It wasn't about Jericho. They would use Jericho as a talker to further the storylines. It's not terrible. It's kind of how they used Roddy Piper for a long time. You know, Piper's Pit. It wasn't really about Piper necessarily. They kind of used him to advance the storylines. More so with Jericho, though, and, you know, very much with Miz and Miz TV. It's not about Miz, but he's a guy that can talk. So instead of doing an interview segment with, you know, somebody that can't wrestle, like Charlie, they have Miz or Kevin Owens, because they've discovered that Kevin Owens can talk. They don't really want him as their top wrestler, but they're happy to keep him in the upper mid-card as a talker, and they're going to pay him for it. You know, it's not a terrible spot for him. It's a job that he can keep for a long time. It's not a job that main events WrestleMania, but it's a job that will pay him handsomely for several more years and keep him on TV and keep him as one of the main stars in WWE. He won't be the star. I think a lot of us had hopes for Kevin Owens of being the star in the WWE. We saw the potential there. But at
Universal
this
champion.
point, yeah, he was a Universal Champion. You know, the way he came in with John Cena, beating Cena and all that, like, that was really big. Coming from NXT as the NXT champion, becoming U.S. champion, beating Cena, that was huge. And people had high hopes. Here's a guy who can wrestle his ass off, who can talk. You figure total package. But there were some things along the way that didn't work in Kevin Owens' favor, I guess, for one reason or another. I don't know.
The Jericho
You know,
match.
The Jericho match at Mania, you know, Vince didn't like it. We saw that on the Kevin Owens documentary. It's well documented. It was on the WWE Network. Vince didn't like his match with Jericho at Mania. Doesn't help. Doesn't mean you can't redeem yourself. But, you know, I'm sure Vince has seen some Roman Reigns matches that he didn't like, but didn't stop Roman from being the guy, right? So I think Kevin Owens is a very talented guy. It's just the WWE is a place where you're given a role, and there's no real room to kind of advance past that role. You are kind of put in your box, and you just got to pray that you're put in a nice box. That's kind of how I see the WWE these days. You know, they give you your spot, and you got to hope that your spot is a good one. And there are ways to kind of improve your spot, but only to a certain level, you know? That's just the way I see it. You know, Roman and Seth, they're in these, like, diamond boxes, and they're really nice, you know? And Kevin Owens is in, like, a nice, you know, glass box. Some of the other guys, like Tozawa's in a cardboard box over there, and it's like, deal with it, Tozawa. Like your cardboard box or get out of here, pal. You know? And that's just how it works, man. Certain guys are given nice accommodations, nice spots, nice TV time, nice stories, juicy material, and others are there to just kind of fill a role. Kevin Owens is there to fill a role. It's not a bad role for him, but I think you and a lot of people, myself included, kind of wanted and expected more and figured that he would be able to break through the glass ceiling and get there, but probably not. Especially not that he's on the Roman Reigns show now, right? It's kind of, oh well.
Well, I was amazed that they even put him in the opening, albeit maybe for like a second, but at least he made that. I was very surprised by that. I just feel like on SmackDown, it's like you say, like, yeah, he'll be top mid-card, but that's about it, because he'll have his talk show. I just feel he's better suited for Raw, which is like promo heavy. So I feel Kevin can shine better in that kind of world. And plus, I feel like there's more like fresh matchups on Raw. Like just carrying over the Aleister Black thing, that's been there, done that. And Seth Rollins been there, done that as well. I mean, and Sami Zayn, like those matches are great, but it's like we haven't seen it before. Like, what is there really for Kevin to do on SmackDown?
I mean, I just talked about him. The big dog, Roman Reigns. Kevin's a babyface. Roman's going to get through with Jey Uso at Hell in a Cell. If you're going to do Daniel Bryan versus Seth now, maybe have Bryan work a program with Seth, go over on Seth, prepare him for Roman, have Roman, in the meantime, beat up on Kevin Owens for a couple pay-per-views, beat Daniel Bryan for a couple pay-per-views, leading into Mania where he wrestles Big E. That's how I would book the year for Roman Reigns. You know, what are we, October? We'll do, finish up October with Jay. Maybe do a Survivor Series match against Jay and a team. Then come December, you're up against Kevin Owens. Maybe you do Rumble with Kevin Owens as well. Shit, forget about Daniel Bryan. You could do Elimination Chamber against a bunch of guys. And then gear up for Mania against Big E. Like, Kevin Owens can take you.
Though.
Forget Goldberg. I don't know why you're talking about Goldberg. I think Kevin Owens can get you through 3 Roman Reigns pay-per-views. You do Rumble. I mean, we're almost at the Rumble. Can you believe that? I'm talking about WrestleMania here, and I feel like WrestleMania should be a long way away, but WrestleMania is not that far away. What are we, 6 months away from Mania? It's not that far, man. It's got to be more than 6 months. My math is off.
It's a little bit off, but like it's not that far off though. Because I mean, if you think about it, it's supposed to be the end of March. I think this next year, if I'm not mistaken. So it's still pretty close.
No, hold on. We're what, mid-October, November, December, January, February, March, 5.5 months away from Mania. About 6 months.
I mean, technically, yeah. I mean, because it is like I think March 28th. I think, if I'm not mistaken, but yeah, it's about that. If it happens, still.
I'm telling
it's
you,
supposed to be in
it'll happen.
Los Angeles, right?
Well, whatever.
I mean, it'll happen.
Yeah.
Will it happen in Los Angeles? I doubt that, though.
Do you do Big E at Mania for Roman, or do you do Rock? Rock's way bigger. But I feel like Rock a lot of this is building for Big E, man.
Well, again, we got to wait until we get to the Rumble, right? With Big E. Big E would be great, but you got to get him to that position. Like it's way too early to say. And as much as you wanted to ignore Bill Goldberg, like the fact that they showcased him, albeit a little bit, they still showcased him on SmackDown. Like that match is going to happen. Like they didn't get to do it at WrestleMania, they're going to do it. I would think Survivor Series. We're going to get Roman Reigns, Bill Goldberg.
Huh. All right. I'm fine with that. If we're doing it because Roman needs to beat Goldberg, sure. That makes sense to me. He didn't get to beat him at Mania. He should beat him. Show that he's the master of the spear. Show that what Braun Strowman did was nothing because Roman can do it too. It makes a lot of sense for Roman to beat Goldberg. He should have been the one to beat him at Mania. He decided to step away. Braun stepped in, but, Roman should be able to get the win too. Yes, beat Goldberg. Beat him at Survivor Series. Forget a Survivor Series team match. Do one-on-one, defend the title against Goldberg. That's your main event right there. That's money. I hope they do that. Roman will beat Goldberg. Unless, Goldberg beats him, and then we stretch it out, and Roman takes it back at, like, Rumble or Mania even. Like, no. If it's like...
Done that, though.
Yeah, let's not do that. Like, if it's Roman to beat Goldberg, 1, 2, 3, middle of the ring, Roman's the king of the spear. That's Goldberg's final match. Finally, please, can we get over the Goldberg thing? Okay. We didn't get to do it at Mania. Let's do it at Survivor Series. Okay. I'm down with that. I'm not against that idea at all, John. I know you expected me to be, but I think that's totally fine. That makes sense. Give the big dog a win over Goldberg.
Well, I don't think it'd be Goldberg's last match. I mean, as long as they keep wrestling in Saudi Arabia, they'll bring Goldberg back in some capacity.
How old do you think he'll have to be before he stops wrestling? Because at this point, he's what?
I think he's close to 60, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like he's in the late 50s.
Come on. What are you doing here?
But I mean, when you think
Taker
about it,
said,
though,
okay. Even Taker
yeah,
was
but
like,
look at his shape though for his age. Like he looks fantastic.
No, he doesn't. You know why I know he doesn't look fantastic for his age? Because you said he's nearly 60 and he's 53. So
No, he's
you
getting
thought you thought he was much older than he actually is. And you're saying he looks good for his age. Nope, apparently he looks terrible for his age. And to be honest, 53? Like, can you believe Goldberg is only a couple years older than AJ? Doesn't Goldberg seem like at least a decade older than AJ? You know what I mean?
Now you're going to
AJ?
confuse people when you say that, because right away I'm like, I know who you're talking about, but you're not talking about AJ Styles, because everyone's going to think you're talking about AJ Styles.
Oh no,
you're
sorry.
not talking about AJ Styles. So
not
you gotta,
AJ
like,
Styles. Sorry, AJ D'Alessio from Ringside Report, the other show, the MMA show. John knows what I'm talking about.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're talking about.
Like,
yeah.
how are Goldberg and AJ roughly the same age? Goldberg looks like AJ's not grandfather, maybe, older brother. Much older brother, though, right?
Yeah, but I'm sure our AJ would love to have Goldberg's physique, though, so I feel like that kind of equals out.
Who wouldn't, baby? God. Can't believe we're talking about Goldberg wrestling again. But he's just there to do the job to Roman, though, right? Come on, John.
But that's what he should be there for, no? Like, put over, like, the new generation. Like, that was the whole point, I think, of Goldberg in the first place, was to help put people over.
Yeah.
It's just they had to put him over so people remember that, yeah, he was, like, a big star.
He should, if he's going to stick around, he should put Roman over, and then he should put Lars Sullivan over. That's what he should do.
Like, you're really, like, big on the Freak for some reason. Like, I don't know. Like, it seemed like he barely got past Jeff Hardy.
But he's big. He's freakish. They're calling him the Freak. I don't know. I feel like I could get behind him. If Goldberg isn't going to lose to the Freak, he should lose to Otis. Give me Otis versus the Freak, baby. That's a match. Otis versus Freak. Money in the Bank on the line. They're going to give it to Freak. Whoops. I just gave them the idea. You know they're going to do it. I just want to call him Freak. I don't even want to call him Lars Sullivan anymore. He's just Freak to me. Freak nasty.
I mean, I think you look at it and it's like Otis against Roman Reigns. I mean, that's a no contest right there. There's no way that Otis is going to cash in on Roman Reigns.
No.
This is why Otis, but if Otis went to Raw, I could see him actually cash in on a Raw champion.
Yeah, but Otis stayed on SmackDown.
It's too bad. Yeah, there's no way you're being Roman.
Otis stayed on SmackDown. Mandy went to Raw. And Tucky went to Raw. Tucky, his tag team partner in the Heavy Machines, Tucky, went to Raw. And I got to tell you, that's bad news for Tucky. That's really bad news for Tucky. Tucky just lost his meal ticket. The only reason anybody wanted to see Tucky was because of Otis. And now that Tucky isn't in a tag team with Otis, what the hell do you think Tucky's going to do? Look, they just canceled Raw Underground. Raw Underground is no more. I told you it wouldn't last because it was a stupid idea. It was dumb. It was poorly executed. And it wouldn't last. I said it would be gone within less than 6 months. I think I said 3 months or whatever. And that's about what it lasted. Once again, I'm correct on these dumb things WWE does. They won't last. They don't stick. Retribution will be gone within a year, too. Okay? It's October, whatever. 17th. Retribution will be done in a year.
Well, they actually have to show up on Raw. I mean,
yeah,
they were supposed to show up on Raw, and they didn't show up on Raw, so I don't think they know exactly to the full extent what they're doing with this yet. So it's really a wait and see with these guys, unfortunately. But I'm sure there's going to be a big master plan that should have been revealed from the very start, that's been well thought out when it's finally revealed.
Yeah, right. You're lying. Ridiculous. Raw Underground's over. Where does Tucky go? What do they do with Tucky? Poor Tucky.
Well, I think for the most part, you'll see him on main event, just so they maybe get him ready for a singles push, I think.
No one's going to see him on main event. No one watches main event. Get him ready for a single. What are you talking about? Tucky?
I mean, they're gonna try it. They've tried it with a bunch of these kind of guys that leave tag teams. Like remember Reverend Devon? Like they tried things like this. It didn't work, but they try it.
Are you really trying to compare the Dudley Boys to Heavy Machinery?
I'm comparing like Devon's like singles push. Like they gave it a solid effort, and then it just went nowhere.
I don't think so, John. I'm not letting that slide. Devon Dudley to Tucky. Talking about a WWE Hall of
Both very
Famer,
athletic
legend.
guys.
Yeah, but he's not
You don't give
Devon.
Tucky enough respect, actually. Like,
we're talking about Devon. We're talking about the Dudley Boys, one of the greatest tag teams of all time. You're comparing them to Heavy Machinery. I mean...
Well, Devon's single run, yeah. Devon's single run wasn't great.
Okay.
They gave him Triple H, and he still couldn't. They still didn't push him.
Well, maybe Tucky will have an assistant like Devon did, who will become a great superstar, like Deacon Batista eventually became. Okay.
I'm more disappointed with Mandy though. Like, she kind of just like laughed about like the fact that her and Otis aren't going to be on the same show. I don't remember like that Miz TV. Not the greatest segment to watch on Raw, but I feel like that was near the start of the show.
Yeah,
and it just seemed like Mandy didn't seem to care. I mean, maybe it was just her acting was so bad, but like it just seemed like she didn't care whatsoever about Otis, pretty much.
She seems a little bit mad at the Miz because Miz seemed to be taking credit for Otis staying on SmackDown and Tucky and Mandy moving to Raw. Somehow Miz was in charge of that. Maybe Miz is selecting the picks for Raw. And Mandy seems a little bit mad at Miz for doing that. But Mandy does seem just very excited that she has a tag team partner in Dana Brooke. You know, that seems like she's just most excited about having a tag team partner that kind of looks like her. I'll tell you, they look like a tag team. You know, they really do. They look good together. They look like a tag team. Or something else is about to happen, you know?
Well, I wasn't excited about that tag match. I don't know if you remember that tag match or want to relive that tag match.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to relive those tag matches.
Let's dive deep. Let's piss you off even more, John. I mean, I just feel bad for Natty because Natty had to be in it. You know, Natty looked so good in that match because everybody else looked so horrible. Dana Brooke and Mandy beat Lana and Natty. Lana took the fall, thankfully, and Natty was like sick of it at the end. She's like, Lana, this tag team isn't working out. I'm done with you. It's over. And then Lana started crying. Of course, it would all work out for Lana in the end, which we'll get to. So Dana and Mandy beat Lana and Natty. It was horrible. The finish was horrible. Dana... Or was it Mandy? Who was on whose shoulders? Mandy was on Dana's shoulders? Or Dana was on Mandy's shoulders?
I think Dana was on Mandy's shoulders.
Yeah. Dana did like a senton off Mandy's shoulders. It was so awkward. She looked so uneasy up there. Took forever to jump off. Awful. Awful. Pins Lana.
Well, you know what they were trying to do, right? I think they were trying to do the Quebecers finisher, but... maybe they didn't realize like how it's done. It's supposed to be like off the top, not off the shoulders. Or maybe they were trying to do like their own kind of version. But, you know, ideas in heads and then actually doing them, two different things. Because like that really showed like they didn't really know what they were doing there.
That move was horrible. Now, I've seen the Lucha Brothers pull off, the Lucha House Party do a similar move. But it's really smooth and really impressive when they do it, you know? Like the guy jumps on, you know, he grabs him, he pulls him up on his shoulders, whoop, and then he's there, and then whoop, you know, and it's like, oh yeah, that was really smooth and nicely executed. My son and I actually practice that move, and we do it better than Dana and Mandy, I think, at this point. So it was goddamn awful. Yeah, it was really bad. Poor Natty. Poor Natty that this is what her career is reduced to, trying to teach these jabronis how to wrestle. Just horrible. Just horrible. And how is Dana Brooke, at this point in her career, still this bad? Like, she's been around for a long time, and she still sucks.
Well, to be honest, I feel like she's actually better. She was worse, actually. I found like
Okay.
she's actually somewhat improved. It's not as like sloppy as it
Okay.
used to be. I mean, it's not
Oh,
a huge
that's
improvement, but
ugh.
yeah, it's not saying much. But
Lana too.
even yeah, Lana. Well, no, Lana. I thought like
She's
wasn't too bad
improved,
actually. I
but
mean,
she's still
yeah,
terrible. She's still
right.
bad. She still looks awkward. Everything she does looks fake as hell. It looks like they're just trying to, you know, get through the moves that they practiced beforehand. It looks like practice.
hmm Yeah, I mean, definitely. But the problem is too, you can tell a lot of the moves they aren't crisp, like you said before,
Yeah.
and it feels like they're not on the same page a lot of the time. Like maybe they try to memorize stuff, and then it looks like there's a bit of like a mind block or something, and it's like, what am I supposed to do here? I'm supposed to be there. So then it looks completely off. So this is the problem. This is why maybe they should just go on the fly with their matches, because like when you try to remember A to Z, sometimes like the D to like R is like completely off because you can't remember that stuff.
It was goddamn embarrassing. I mean, the match before it was like Raw. Actually, I know you said you didn't like Raw, but I thought Raw started off very, very good wrestling wise.
Oh,
The
you're right.
the two matches before this match, okay? The two matches,
hmm
okay? The three match sequence went Kevin Owens versus Aleister Black in an incredible no disqualification match that Kevin Owens won with a stunner and a powerbomb through a table. They did everything. Kevin went through chairs. It was like
Start the
nuts.
show.
Started the show with it. Well, they started the show with Stephanie McMahon. Actually, no, they started the show with Randy Orton doing a long ass promo, John. Okay? Started with
The
Randy
first
talking.
match. The first match
Yeah,
was
the
this.
first match was Kevin and Aleister, and they tore the house down. Hell of a match. And then, things happen. Blah blah blah. People talk, and Seth
A
Rollins
lot of
starts
talking.
a lot of talking, a lot of Stephanie announcing draft picks and so on. And then Seth Rollins shows up in the ring, and he's talking about leaving Raw. And Jeff Hardy shows up, and he's like, "Don't worry, I'm on Raw now, and I'm way better than you, Seth." And Seth is like, why don't you shut up, Jeff Hardy, and save your energy for Lars Sullivan? And then AJ Styles comes out, and he's like, I was never Monday Night Rollins anyways. It's always AJ Styles' show. Everywhere I go, it's AJ Styles. I'm the best. And Seth gets mad at AJ Styles, and then they all kind of get in each other's face, and Jeff attacks them both. And then we have a triple threat match, AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, and Seth Rollins. So the sequence of matches was Kevin Owens, Aleister Black,
hmm
AJ, Jeff, and Seth, and then Dana and Mandy against Lana and Natty. Like, they had no chance. Like the women's tag team match had no chance, and it just so out of place when you see these high level professionals kicking ass. The Kevin Owens Aleister Black match, Dana Brooke couldn't have close to that match in a million years. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, there's levels to this
You're
game,
right. Yeah.
and those guys are just at a very, very high level of professional wrestling. The things that they're able to do and the lanes that they're willing to go, very, very different than some of the other people on the show. Like Aleister Black and Kevin Owens are world-class professional wrestlers, and they killed it. AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, and Seth Rollins are world-class A-level professional wrestlers, and they killed it until a C-level, maybe D-level professional wrestler, Elias, showed up and hit Jeff Hardy with a guitar, and that allowed AJ Styles to get the pinfall. Very good match, weird finish, inserting Elias into the whole thing. But I did like how they explained Elias by saying
Yeah.
that Elias was like, hey, Jeff Hardy hit me with a car months ago, and that's why I've been out for so long. And they did use that to explain a lot. He had an injury, right? So they explained the injury
Right.
with saying that Jeff Hardy hit him with a car, even though it was quite clear at the time that Sheamus was actually the one who had framed Jeff Hardy. There was an incident on SmackDown. This was way back, but I like that they kind of stuck to it, right? Way back,
Yep.
Sheamus decided to frame Jeff Hardy, so he knocked Jeff Hardy unconscious. hit Elias with a car, and then put the unconscious Jeff Hardy in the passenger seat, and then I think sprayed booze on him. And then Jeff Hardy found himself unconscious in a car, and he had hit Elias, and everybody was like... And then Jeff Hardy got arrested, but then when Jeff got to the police station, they found that he had no blood alcohol content, and he couldn't have done it, and he was knocked unconscious, and it was some other pale man with red hair that was really the assailant, but they could never pin down exactly who it was, and for some reason, Sheamus didn't do any jail time for his vehicular assault on Elias, but Elias believes Sheamus' official story and believes that Jeff Hardy was the one who hit him with the car, so Elias is out for revenge in true heel fashion, which is a stretch, but, I guess Elias is that dumb, and he believes Sheamus' story. They didn't really explain that, they didn't go very far in explaining that, no, it was Sheamus that actually hit Elias with the car. But Sheamus is on Raw now, so I assume that that'll all resume, and we'll see more Sheamus versus Jeff Hardy, I guess, which, do we need to revisit that? But Elias is involved now, so maybe...
Different show now.
A different show, same match. Are they going to go back into a bar and do the whole thing? Is Sheamus going to talk about Jeff's alcoholism again? I don't know. But Elias is back, and he seems to... want some of Jeff Hardy. But man, Raw, I thought, killed it with the matches right up front. The Kevin Owens, Aleister Black, AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Seth Rollins. When they were setting that up, I'm like, there's no way they're going to do a triple threat. And then they're like, yep, triple threat match. I was like, shit, it's pretty good. I was like, damn, it's a good lineup here. AJ, Jeff, Seth. Yeah, I'm into that. It was really good.
I feel Jeff said it was going to be a triple threat tag team match. And I'm like, really? That's kind of weird. You're going to be tag partners in this? And then I realized, I think Jeff just screwed up.
Jeff's confused.
Because it was a triple threat match.
The demons are coming back. He's confused.
No, it's fine, though. The match was all right. But this is the problem. You start the show off with this. This is all within the first hour, pretty much. Problem is, Raw is a 3-hour show, and then you have the next couple of matches, and they can't compare whatsoever. This was the problem. By the time you got to the third hour, it's so grueling just to get through that third hour. It took me a day at least to get through that third hour.
And then, it really drops off, right? Because you have a really good first hour, and then Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose have their match, and then Angel Garza wrestles Andrade, and, you stop caring at that point. Zelina Vega's on commentary, and then Andrade loses. Angel wins, okay? Mm-hmm. And then Zelina, who seems like she doesn't like either guy, she's fed up with both of them. When Angel wins, she seems to go and console Andrade and is like, are you okay, Andrade? So I don't know. Is Zelina back with Andrade? Very confusing. And then the lights go out and there's sound effects going on. And I really thought it was going to be Retribution. I thought it was Retribution, but then it was The Fiend. Because they basically have the same effects. Lights go out. You hear the lights go out. And then it's like, okay, right. And then you just got to wait for the next sound to find out, is it Retribution or is it The Fiend? It's very similar effect when the lights go out. It's not great. It was The Fiend and Alexa Bliss, and they hit Sister Abigail at the same time on Zelina and Andrade.
It's very good timing on that.
Yeah. Synchronized.
I just felt like Zelina kind of gave it away, though, because she insulted Alexa Bliss on commentary, so you kind of could tell, something was going to happen. If anything with lights turning off, it had to be them.
Yeah.
But it just, when she appeared at first, though, it was just Bliss, right? And when she just showed up, and they're, scared, I'm like, why are you scared of her? She's so small. You both could easily take her. Zelina could take her. Why are you scared? Just because she has, a stupid look on her face.
Was Andrade selling he was scared too?
Well, they're just selling they're so shocked and oh my goodness, what is this, And it's it's just a weird person in a weird position. Who cares?
Yeah, well, John, he has powers. Okay, they have powers. The Fiend and Alexa Bliss, they're from beyond or whatever. They're something. They are something. Are we gonna see Zelina and Andrade versus The Fiend and Alexa now? Is that what we're doing? Because that
No.
sucks. No?
Because Zelina went to SmackDown and Andrade hasn't been drafted yet, so he's a free agent.
Huh? Zelina went to SmackDown?
Yeah. Well,
Oh.
they needed some women because, like, I feel like there's like 14 on Raw and like maybe 6 or 7 on SmackDown.
Hmm.
I mean, it's
Why didn't
very
they?
like lopsided.
Why didn't they draft Andrade?
I think he's injured apparently, or he's gonna have one of those surgeries like Charlotte, like one of those
On his
surgeries he just
boobs?
wants to have. Maybe, possibly, face.
Peck,
I don't know. But
peck implants?
it's not impossible.
He's going to have
Improvements of some kind.
elective surgery. Well, it could just be like tattoos, you know?
Yeah, he might just have like some bone chips in his elbow that he just wants to get rid of or something. It's possible.
That could be it, too. That could be it. It could be a number of things. Huh. Andrade didn't get drafted. Any other big names not drafted?
Mickey James wasn't drafted.
Why?
Broken nose.
Huh. So if you're injured, you don't get drafted? It's weird.
I think that kind of makes sense though, because it's like they don't know how long they're going to be out for, right? And like they're trying to put everyone else together in their own little storylines. So by the time they're healthy, who knows how the shows are going to shape up? I would just think you put Mickey on SmackDown because again, it's like 14-7 or something like that in terms of how the women ratio is on Raw and SmackDown. So like she should go to SmackDown.
14-7? That can't be right.
It's not far off if it's not right.
I'm not sure who's on what brand at this point. We had a battle royal. Nia Jax, Shayna, Bianca, Natty, Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, Mandy, Peyton Royce, Billie Kay, Nikki Cross, Lana, Tamina, Dana Brooke, all in the battle royal to determine the number one contender for Asuka. Now, a bunch of those people are on SmackDown. I'm not really sure who. It'll become apparent in time, We'll figure it out. Lana won, though. That was interesting. So, a few interesting points in the Battle Royal. Nia Jax got eliminated by Shayna, who's her tag team partner. Shayna got eliminated by Bianca Belair, which was a big move for Bianca. Bianca got eliminated by, I don't know, somebody, Lacey and Natty or something. And
I thought it was the Riot Squad.
Was it? I don't know. I forget. It didn't seem to matter. But it came down to Natty and Lacey, and Natty eliminated Lacey. But then Lana, who had been put through a table, once again with a Samoan drop from Nia Jax, and I think that might be 4 weeks in a row that poor Lana's been put through that announce table. Is that right? 4 weeks in a row she's gone through the announce table. That's fantastic.
A running gag, yeah.
It's pretty funny. And she wins the Battle Royal to get the shot at Asuka because Lana was like selling the announce table. And Natty was on the apron. She thought she won the Battle Royal. But Lana comes out. She was never eliminated. Pushes Natty off. And she wins. So Lana Asuka is going to happen on Raw Monday. How funny would it be? You want to talk about a gag? How funny would it be if Lana won and became champion? Like,
given the fact that they put her through a table every week, it's a nice reward for her. But it's just I don't see it happening because they've kind of built like Asuka as a huge champion that when she loses, it's going to be a big deal. For her to lose on Raw, I'd be kind of surprised. But it's WWE, so you shouldn't really be that surprised.
What would be more ridiculous? Lana winning the Raw Women's title or her husband getting into a feud with a guy because that guy got put through his arcade machine on a fucking stupid Dynamite show. That was some dumb shit on Dynamite we'll talk about. God damn, that was stupid. What the hell was that? Some guy puts you through my arcade machine breaks. I'm not mad at the guy who put you through the machine. I'm mad at you for getting put through the machine. What? Why is he mad at Trent? What the hell was that shit? Rusev, you what the fuck, man? So bad. That was awful, John. We'll talk about Dynamite in a minute. I also want to... Yeah, we're going to make fun of a lot of things on Dynamite, actually. Dynamite was all right this week, but a lot of shit was stupid. Anything else on Raw that you want to talk about, John? How about Ricochet? Rick O'Shea beat Cedric Alexander by disqualification. The ref was selling for a stupid amount of time. He had a leg injury. The ref was just selling like crazy. Ricochet, now Hurt Business was in Alexander's corner. Ricochet got the chair that they were going to use on him. He smacked it against the mat, pulled an Eddie Guerrero, pretended like Cedric hit him with the chair, knocked him down, causing a disqualification. Now, Ricochet got the win that way because he had a stipulation with the Hurt Business because Ricochet's all alone now. His buddy Apollo Crews got drafted to Smackdown, so Ricochet's all alone, and he doesn't want to keep getting beat up by the Hurt Business. Cedric left him, he's all alone. He's got no friends. So Ricochet's like, look, Hurt Business, let's have one more match against one of your guys. If I win, then you leave me alone forever. But if I lose, then I join the Hurt Business. And they're like, okay, you're on. Now he wins by disqualification. You really think the Hurt Business is going to leave him alone after that? Like, why would they?
Well, if they're men of their word, they agreed to the stipulation, right? So.
Okay. Why doesn't he just join the Hurt? I was rooting for him to join the Hurt Business so this could finally make sense and the Hurt Business could fully be a babyface team and they could face off against Retribution.
You would think that. Maybe it still could happen. We don't know how this is all going to work out with Retribution. I don't think they know as of this point yet until we get to Monday how it's all going to work out. So who knows how it's going to work out. You have to wait and see it on Monday.
These guys need to learn. You got to give in to MVP, man. This Hurt Business was born through MVP's persuasion. This guy, very persuasive. Bobby Lashley didn't want to join MVP. Remember, Lashley was with Lana, and MVP's like, hey, you got to join me because I will take you to the next level. You will see championship gold with me. He joins MVP, and now Bobby Lashley is the U.S. champion. Shelton Benjamin was going nowhere. He's a babyface. They're like, join us, Shelton. Shelton's like, I don't know. I don't want to join you. And then they beat up Shelton. He's like, all right, I'm going to join you. Cedric Alexander kept getting beat up by them. He's like, no, I'm going to be with my friends, Ricochet and Apollo Crews. And they kept beating up on Cedric. And eventually Cedric's like, all right, I'm going to join you. Everybody eventually joins the Hurt Business. Just get it over with. Put Ricochet with them. Like, everybody's just joining MVP, man. It seems to be working for them. Over time, they just keep gaining new members. Very persuasive, that Montel.
It might happen. It's kind of a bummer in a sense for Ricochet. Like, they can't get involved with the Hurt Business. Like, Bobby Lashley's U.S. champion, so that's one championship you can't go after. And let's face it, Ricochet is not in the WWE title picture, so what can he really do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like Ricochet. I think he's super talented, super athletic, but there's just something missing there. Promo-wise, personality-wise, it's not quite clicking currently with the WWE. And Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre, speaking of not clicking, those guys were just brawling around the ring and the arena the whole show, and that's how the show ended, with Drew and Randy brawling. Great. Can we get that match over with already? Like, I'm done with those guys.
Well, here's a question. Like, what's going to start Hell in a Cell? What's going to end Hell in a Cell? Because we have 3 Hell in a Cell matches, right? So, more than likely, we're going to start with a Hell in a Cell match. The middle, roughly the middle, will be another one, and the end will be another one. So, does Randy and Drew actually start the pay-per-view?
Yes.
Yeah, sadly, it looks like it, doesn't it?
Has to. No one cares. It's the least important of the 3. You don't want to. You want the women's title. You got to sandwich in between, no matter what. It's got to go second because you don't want to do the men's matches back to back. Yeah, I think you do the women's match second, no matter what. It's got to be sandwiched in between the Hell in a Cell there. If you're gonna do 3 Hell Cell matches, I'd do Randy Drew first, Sasha Bailey next, and then not back to back to back. I'm saying throughout the show,
Of course.
I would open up the show with Randy and Drew, and I would close the show with Roman and Jey Uso. Always close the show with Roman. That's a no-brainer to me. You never had Hulk Hogan on the show and didn't close it with him. Roman Reigns is on the show, you close the show with Roman. John Cena's on the show, you close the show with John Cena. Just how you do it.
Okay, I get that, but I just feel like Bayley and Sasha, they've been building this for such a long time. Like, in a sense, that people remember that more than they're going to remember Jay and Roman, no?
No. It doesn't. No. Roman is the hotter angle right now. Sasha versus Bayley is so played out, you know? Are you that excited about it? Like, oh, Bayley turned on Sasha. They're going to have a match against each other. They've had so many matches against each other. Oh, it's Hell in a Cell. Okay. I think that's less anticipated than the Roman and Jey Uso thing. That Roman Reigns, he beats Braun Strowman at the end of Smackdown with a guillotine choke submission, which was a little surprising.
Oh, he's into MMA now.
Yeah, new move there from Roman, a little guillotine, which I didn't know chokeholds were legal in wrestling, but okay. Sometimes chokeholds, you can choke somebody, sometimes you can't. It doesn't really make sense, but whatever. And then Jey Uso shows up after the match, and Roman spears Braun Strowman in front of Jey, and he's telling Jey, he's like, look, if I can do this to Braun, imagine what I can do to you. I don't want to do this to you. This is what we do, though. This is how we make our money. And then Roman appears to want Jey to hit Braun with the chair, but then Braun seems like he rolls out of the ring. So then Roman's like, oh, just hit me with the chair. And then Jey doesn't want to hit him with the chair with his back turned. And then Jey decides to punch Roman and super kick Roman. I was a little confused. Like, what was going on there? Why did Roman tell Jey to hit Braun with the chair, and then Braun rolled out of the ring, and then Roman's like, well, hit me with a chair? Is that what he was saying to him, or was he just turning his back for other reason? Like, what was that?
Well, I heard one of the referees say, turn around, Roman. So I don't think we were supposed to hear that. I think that was the cue to turn around. So that's all I heard on that end.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, Roman turned around. I think just like to test Jey. And I guess that's going to be the story going forward, is that I gave you your one free shot, and now you don't get any more kind of thing. I think maybe that's the story that they're telling.
Yeah, but he didn't take the free shot. He only took it when Roman turned to him. He didn't hit him with a chair anyways. He punched him, super kicked him, beat on him a bit with his hands and feet. But eventually he did grab the chair and hit him with the chair quite a few times. And then referees showed up, and they were holding Jey back, and Roman was free. So then Roman hit Jey with a Superman punch, and they got pulled apart, and that's how SmackDown ended. But I thought that was good stuff. I thought that was a way better angle, a way better story, way better promo than anything that Drew and Randy are currently doing. Or Sasha and Bayley, like the Sasha Bayley contract signing. Sasha's promo was pretty good. It was good. It wasn't terrible.
Right.
But I feel like this Roman Reigns thing is a little hotter, He's the biggest star of the company, and he just turned heel. Bayley has been a heel for a while. It's not that fresh. Not as fresh as Roman. I'm not saying it's not interesting or not something I want to see, but it's not my most favorite angle going right now.
Well, I'll agree. I think the Jey Uso, Roman Reigns, it's a better story.
Mm-hmm.
But as we saw with Clash of Champions, it doesn't mean it's going to be a better match. I think that they're bigger on telling a good story at this point than having good wrestling. When I look towards good wrestling, I feel Bayley and Sasha, that's going to be the best match out of all the Hell in a Cell matches.
You're probably right. But it's WWE. It's not about that. You know that. I know that.
You are right about that, too, sadly.
Yeah, exactly. I'll tell you what else I'm right about. Manscaped. You want to go to manscaped.com. You want to use the promo code Ringside20. You want to get the Lawnmower 3.0. Shave your balls. Shave all your areas that are hard to reach with the Lawnmower 3.0. There's a little light at the end to help you see everything. No nicks. You can get right down to the skin. This is fantastic technology from Manscaped. They've got all the supplies that you need for your special area, okay? They've got the crop reviver. They've got ball deodorant. They've got everything for your balls to keep you smelling good and looking fresh. Manscaped.com. Use that promo code Ringside20 to get 20% off your order plus free shipping on your whole order. Manscaped.com. Promo code Ringside20. They sponsor the Ringside Report Network. Support the show. Support Manscaped. Support your balls. Manscaped.com. Use the promo code Ringside20. Let's talk about AEW.
Dynamite?
Break the rules. Dynamite. Yeah, that show, you know? With the song?
Not dark, okay.
No. The show with the show with the Young Bucks and John Silver.
And the waxing?
The John Silver show. The waxing
no
of Tony.
manscaping, just waxing.
Waxing of Tony Schiavone, all that stuff. So they opened the show with FTR beating the Best Friends. I thought that was a solid match. Hardwood hit Chuck with the title to cheat to win. You didn't like the finish? They cheat to win. That's what they do.
It was just clunky. But it was clunky though. Like it wasn't good the way the referee went down like that. Like it looked like it was off because like they went for the whole like roll into the ropes and O'Connor roll and then hit the guy with the belt, but the ref was like in the wrong position or something, and like he ducked out of the way, and it just looked like it took away from the belt shot because it's like the ref had a duck, and it was like over dramatic the way he did it. So it's like, why would he do that when it's clearly the guy's coming up on the apron like that? It just like something was off in terms of the positioning, it seemed, and it took away from the finish.
Overall, the match was all right. A lot of
good wrestling match.
A lot of brawling around the ring. At one point, Trent was put through. Now, Kip Sabian was playing like on one of those big arcade machines, like in the arena, and Trent got tossed through. One of the FTR guys tossed him through the thing, and it broke. And then Kip went to get Miro, and then Miro showed up after the match and beat up the Best Friends as revenge. I guess, was it Chuck that got thrown or Trent? I don't know which one.
I think it was Trent. Pretty sure it was Trent.
So Miro's mad that one of the Best Friends got tossed through his machine and it broke. But why isn't he mad at the FTR? Doesn't make any kind of sense.
Well, the only way I can make sense of this is that Kip wasn't paying attention, right? And the only thing he saw was Trent go into it. So he didn't see anyone actually like throw him in to the machine. He just saw Trent like dive into it. So he thought maybe Trent did it on purpose.
So Miro and Kip are a tag team because they seem like they're going to feud with the Best Friends now. They just had a match as a tag team, a squash match. Miro was basically only in the ring. Kip did a splash off the top rope. That's all he did in the match. It was against Sean Maluda and Lee Johnson, who are two of the AEW jobbers. It was basically just Miro and Maluda. Johnson didn't get tagged in at all. Miro won. And then Miro cut a promo. And I thought the promo for Miro was the best part of this whole thing. When he says, "You broke my shit." I thought that was good.
Yeah, that was a good line. That was a good, very good line.
"You broke my shit." I was like, yeah, that's good. I like that. That was the best part of the whole thing. Which, I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing. Miro saying, "You broke my shit" in his cool accent. I don't know.
I thought he looked very impressive, just looking big and like throwing everybody around. Like he looked like a monster, and he truly is a monster when you think about an AEW in terms of like physique and just the way he's like intense in the ring. There's not many guys like that in AEW. Like if anything, like it's not just the tag team titles. He should be going for the top title.
Yeah.
Him against Moxley, that should happen.
But he's teaming with Kip Sabian.
For now.
I thought it was a for now, but it seems like they're going with it. He's teaming with Kip Sabian, doing squash matches. Like his first match was a squash match 1-on-1. Now he's doing a squash match as a tag team, and he's starting a feud with Best Friends, is he going to be a tag team wrestler? Miro, like, their singles division needs a little bit more beef, pal. They don't need more tag teams. They got enough tag teams. They need Miro and Kip as a tag team? Really?
Well, I think it's because Kip needed a partner more than Miro needed the singles run, right? Because, I mean, they do have monsters in a sense, right? They have Archer, they have Cage. They have some pretty big guys. Brody Lee, like, there's pretty big guys. So, you know, Miro, I think, eventually will get his time in the main event scene. It's just, this is how he's going to start in the tag team.
Kip needs a partner?
Oh, yeah,
Kip
he
needs a
definitely needs
partner?
one.
Who gives a shit about Kip? Fuck Kip. Put Kip on Dark. Who gives a shit? I don't need to see Kip. I never need to see Kip. Kip needs a partner. Jimmy Havoc does sex assaults. We fucking say, get out of here, Jimmy Havoc. And now Kip needs a partner? Boo. I don't think so. Miro is Jimmy Havoc's replacement? Jimmy Havoc didn't have anywhere near the singles potential that Miro has. This guy is a star, and he's Jimmy Havoc's replacement, teaming with Kip. Kip. His name's Kip. I mean, that's enough. Then you look at him, and you're like, Then you see him wrestle, and you're like, You hear him talk, and you're like, why is this guy on TV? Who fucking cares about Kip? Kip sucks. Kip Sucksian. That's what I call him. Kip Sucksian. Because Kip, I don't know. Like, you think Kip is good? I've seen a lot of wrestlers. If I don't see Kip standing out among all the wrestlers that I've seen. Miro stands out. Fucking, some guys that stand out. Lance Archer stands out. Kip does not stand out. Darby Allin stands out. Orange Cassidy stands out. Kip.
I don't find he's terrible, though. Like, you make it sound like he's, like, one of the worst guys to ever wrestle in a wrestling ring. Like, he's far from that.
Okay, but
Like,
in
he's not
AEW, he's among your least favorite guys. When you see Kip Sabian, you're like, too bad this isn't Hangman Page. I'd much rather watch Hangman Page.
But to be fair, because he's with Miro, I'm more interested to see him now because we get to see Miro.
Yeah. They've given us a reason to watch Kip. He's got a good tag team partner. Great. MJF, there's a guy who I like. He cut a promo, introduced Jericho. Jericho shows up with the Inner Circle. Sammy Guevara got his Inner Circle jacket that MJF made for him, but it's way too big, and he's swimming in it. Sammy's not happy. MJF is talking, and it was a little much, actually. Wasn't the best MJF promo. Eventually, he gets around to wanting to make an alliance with Jericho. He says he might want to join the Inner Circle. And then Ortiz is like, yo, you're not welcome in the Inner Circle. And Jericho's like, maybe we need time to think about it as a group. Jericho seems more into the idea of MJF joining the team than any of his group members. Hager, Santana Ortiz, Sammy Guevara, they all seem very opposed to MJF joining the team. But Jericho's like, we'll talk about it. And I challenge you one-on-one next week to a steak dinner, which MJF accepted. So Jericho and MJF are going to have a steak dinner on Dynamite next week, I guess, to discuss MJF's potential joining of the Inner Circle. A steak dinner. I mean, Jericho's just trying to get the most ridiculous shit over just to see if he can, I think, at this point. I don't know how seriously he's taking this. Like, I feel like Jericho's trying to do the most jokey, ridiculous stuff every single week just to see if it might get over. And you know what? A lot of it does. Somehow, a lot of it does. But some of it is kind of like, okay, are you going to be able to pull this off, Jericho? Yeah, usually he can, but I don't know. I feel like they're trying to stretch MJF a little too much with this, and he's in the big leagues there with Jericho, and I don't think he's standing up to Jericho very well. I don't think this was MJF's best moment on Dynamite this week. The promo seemed a little flat.
Well, to me, it's just way too much comedy or attempt at being comedy.
Yeah.
And the problem is it's just not really that funny. And you could tell MJF he's trying, but it's not his thing to be like a funny guy like Jericho is. Like Jericho could take anything, like the Animal Planet thing. Like it seems they're probably gonna make a T-shirt off that. Like Jericho can just take something and make it into like a hot selling thing. But MJF, he's kind of got his groove, and like when he tries to be like Jericho, it doesn't work.
Yeah, it seemed like MJF was trying to be like Jericho, especially at one point when Jericho was saying, he was like, MJF was like, Jericho, you're the demo god, and I can be the like ratings ruler. And then he said, baby, at the end of it, I'm the ratings ruler, baby. And it sounded like Jericho, like it sounded like he was trying to do a Jericho impression. And the crowd, there is a crowd there, and they were kind of like, they kind of groaned. Like it wasn't like a groan like, oh, MJF, you're such a dick. It was a groan like, ugh, that was awful. That was cringy. And Jericho even commented, he was like, oh, that didn't work. You know, he's like, oh, that was bad. Crowd didn't like that. MJF, you suck, you know? And MJF, you're right, he's not funny. He's not comedic. Like, he's got some funny bits. Once in a while, he'll drop a funny line. But he's really good at being a shit heel, at being cocky, at being just a dick, you know? He's good when he's saying things that are just a little controversial, very dickish. That's the best MJF, when he's like cutting close. You know, when he was saying those things about Jon Moxley, those promos to Moxley, some of his best work, nothing comedic about that. You know, maybe once in a while he'd say a line, but the body of the promo was serious and mean and hard-hitting. And he's good at that. But you're correct. The comedic stuff with Chris Jericho, it's not working. Jericho can do the comedy stuff, and he's trying to help MJF along in that respect, but it's not working. It didn't work at all. So, bad. And then they continued with the comedy. Tony Schiavone at the spa with Britt Baker. Tony was nude. And then they decide to wax Tony's chest. Britt and Reba decide they're going to wax Tony Schiavone's chest at the spa. This was on Dynamite.
It's funny. Tony says this was a rib, apparently. Like, when they originally shot that segment, that wasn't supposed to be in the whole segment. They did that at the end, but then they edited it in. You could see there's a bunch of cuts, right, in that segment?
Uh-huh.
And apparently they threw that in after the fact.
Maybe because what they shot was so terrible, they're like, we have nothing else but to show Tony Schiavone getting his chest waxed. Like, if that's a rib, okay, why are we watching it? Is it a rib on us? Because we're still viewers of professional wrestling that have to sit there and watch a 60-something-year-old overweight man, announcer, get his chest shaved by two women on fucking TV. Like,
some people think it's funny.
Who?
Oh, I'm sure it's mainly people that work for the company. I'm sure they got a kick out of it, so then they put it on television.
When's the last time a fucking wrestling show won an Emmy for best comedy? When's the last time, high-level comedy was done in professional wrestling? What is with the whole wrestling business trying to be hilarious all the time? Everybody's trying to be comedic. Like, everybody's trying to be comedic. Everything's got to be funny. Nothing can be serious. It's just like, all right, guys, I get you want to joke around and everything, but you're good at, serious wrestling. You're not so good at comedy. A lot of these guys are just not that funny. If they were funny, they'd be comedians. They'd be in movies. They'd be doing other things, but they're professional wrestlers. But a lot of them, they're just like, let's make jokes. And a lot of time it doesn't work. Watch Being the Elite. If you want an idea of what AEW comedy is, watch Being the Elite. It's the AEW comedy show. And some of it is funny. John Silver, the Dark Order stuff, funny. A lot of it is not. A lot of it is not funny. And they still put it out there. I wonder what they don't. I wonder what gets cut out of Being the Elite. I wonder that's like, nah, this is too shitty. Let's not put this on Being the Elite. That stuff must be purely awful. Because I watch Being the Elite every week, and that, that's their promo show. That's their comedy routines. That's their skits. And a lot of them are just like, ugh. They haven't let this concept go. They're still going.
Well, this week was about some good matches, not good promos, I felt.
Where were the good matches?
Well, like we said, the tag match was good, except for the finish.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought Cody and Orange Cassidy, I thought they told a good story.
I thought that was a good match. You're right. Good match. Goes to a time limit draw for the TNT title. Cody retains the title. Orange had Cody for a 2 count in the mousetrap as time elapsed. Darby Allin was watching from the stands. Of course, Darby Allin went to a time limit draw with Cody as well. There's history there. I liked it. I liked the match. I thought it was good. Cody's always good for a match. He's always good for a solid wrestling match. Solid performance. Brings serious. He's never joking around. Cody doesn't do any comedy. He's like the only serious wrestler in AEW.
Well, Cody, I think, realizes like he's the star of the show in a sense. Like he has the best entrance. He has like the best people around him kind of thing. Like he gets to hit all the cool moves. Like, and he knows how to put a match together. And like, it seems like a lot of guys. So like his matches are the most exciting. So in my opinion, like the show should be like AEW Cody Presents Dynamite pretty much. Because he's the guy.
Yeah, the TNT title is really the main title. The AEW World title is just like this other thing. But I think Cody is the guy. I think he is the star of the show. I think he's the most consistent performer in AEW and has been since the company started. Why is his hair blonde again?
He tweeted something about blondes have more fun. So There you go.
Okay. So Cody, I think, solid, good performer. He wrestled Orange Cassidy. It is what it is. Matt Hardy, ringside with his wife and all of his kids. Very brave to bring his whole family to the state of Florida in an arena. Sammy Guevara showed up on the big screen and says he was the one who attacked Matt Hardy, and it's not over until he sends Matt home for good. So Sammy Guevara will get another shot to kill Matt Hardy in a wrestling ring. Hopefully it's like a wrestling match, one fall to a finish. They're not allowed to leave the ring, that type of thing. No more hardcore matches with Sammy and Matt Hardy. You put those guys around tables or chairs and bad things happen. Keep those guys in the ring, right? Just safer. It's safer to do that. Although at this point, I think people are expecting blood and guts, right?
Well, there's a lot you could do to play with this, right? Because what happened in the last match and what's happened in previous matches with these guys as well. There's a lot of history of Matt getting hurt and seriously hurt. So I imagine they're going to play with this quite a bit for the next match. I would love to see a deletion match. We haven't seen that yet in AEW. I think this is the perfect opportunity to pull that off.
Delete Sammy Guevara. That'd be good. That's safe, right? That's safer.
You can put that together easier, I think.
With edits and stuff, and you could make the big bumps a lot safer than they did the last time out when Matt Hardy almost busted his head there on the concourse floor. Tony Schiavone reemerged. He's in the ring with FTR to draw numbers from a number gimmick, draw names for a tag team match, a fatal 4-way tag team match that'll happen on Dynamite next week, with the winner getting a shot at FTR for the tag team titles, I guess at Full Gear. So Tony Schiavone is picking out names, and Private Party is the first name picked. Silver and Reynolds are next from the Dark Order, Butcher and the Blade, and the Young Bucks. Interesting that Silver and Reynolds get the spot in this match and not Uno and Grayson, who at one point were the top tag team in the Dark Order, but now I think because Silver and Reynolds have been so entertaining, mostly Silver, on being the Elite, Silver has developed quite a following. I think Silver and Reynolds are now somehow the top tag team in the Dark Order. Like, they're getting a big spot here. They're in a match with the Bucks, Private Party, Butcher, and Blade. You would think if there'd be a Dark Order tag team in there, it'd be Uno and Grayson, but no. It's Johnny Hungy, Johnny Silver, and Alex Reynolds. Johnny Hungy. I love it. I love that guy. That guy is hilarious. He's like short and super jacked. Like, I don't know, man. There's something about his look. He seems too jacked for his height for some reason. I don't know what that means. You know, I think he's probably taller than me. I'm not a tall guy, but he's like not tall, but he's jacked to the gills. Like, he's wider than he is tall. He's amazing, and he's hilarious. In the ring, like, I haven't seen that much, but I don't really care. Honestly, he's so funny that I say have them win. That would be the best. Have them win. Give them the tag team titles. Forget about FTR and the Bucks. Like, forget about all that stuff. You know, FTR's undefeated, all that stuff. You know, you want to do FTR versus the Bucks at Full Gear for the titles. Yeah, that'd be a big match and all. Sure, whatever. How about Silver and Reynolds somehow win the Fatal 4-Way? Silver and Reynolds get the match at Full Gear versus FTR. Silver and Reynolds win the tag team titles. And then you do way more Silver and Reynolds on TV every week because John Silver is money. Like, he's more entertaining than the Young Bucks and FTR are right now. If you ask me who's the most entertaining man in AEW right now, John Silver, without a doubt, by far. Heads and shoulders above everybody else. Johnny Hungy. Are you kidding me? Johnny Hungy? That guy's the best. Put Silver on top. Give Silver the belt. Have him over Moxley. Do everything with John Silver. I mean, I'm not saying really give them the belts and really do all this with them, but like, they should be doing way more with Silver on TV than they are. And I know they're trying to fit him in little spots here and there, and they're giving him this match, which is huge, but more. This is not fast enough. Like, they didn't react to the John Silver hype train fast enough. They should have been putting him on TV more weeks ago. This guy is money. I'm telling you, he's money. If you haven't been watching Being the Elite, you've missed out. John Silver is my favorite.
Well, I think besides the promos you're talking about, I think match-wise, like, they've been delivering him and Reynolds. So I think they've kind of earned this opportunity to be on Dynamite more often.
Johnny Hungy for more TV time, okay? Johnny Hungy!
But they're not winning. They're not going to win.
Well, no, they're not going to win. But how great would it be if they won? Who has a better chance of winning? These guys or Lana against Asuka on Raw?
I think Lana has a better shot.
I think you're right. I think it would be hilarious if Lana won. I think it would be great. I kind of want her to win. Just because people would be so mad. You know how mad people would get if Lana won? If Lana beat Asuka for the title? Do you know how mad people get? You know how mad you would get, John? You personally? You know how upset you would be if Lana became the champion beating Asuka?
I wouldn't be that mad. I wouldn't be that mad. I mean,
people would be mad, though.
Yeah, maybe. But they put Lana through a table a lot. She's improved. I mean, she's not the best, but she's gotten better. She's trying to get better. I wouldn't mind it. I feel Lacey Evans should be the one to beat Asuka eventually, but stranger things have happened.
Have her beat Lana.
We want to talk about, like, most improved? Lacey Evans. You remember Lacey Evans when we saw her, like, debut in Montreal? To now, like, my goodness. It's like Trish Stratus improvement.
I'm a big Lacey fan. I think she's fantastic. I love Lacey Evans. I think she's very, very good. She's getting so much better. She's been good for a while now, but when she started out, it was kind of like, yeah, I don't know. It wasn't really good, but she got good fast, really fast. I'm impressed with her. She got size, too. She's big and strong. She's an athlete. You could tell.
Personality,
yeah.
got a promo,
but
it's a whole package when you think about it.
But I haven't seen Lacey Evans in a match nearly as good as the Hikaru Shida Big Swole match that we saw for the AEW Women's title on Dynamite. I thought that match was very good.
What are you talking about?
Well,
Lacey has had a better match than that? Come on.
With who?
Her matches with Bayley were better than that.
Were they? I don't know about that.
I felt they were.
I think Shida and Swole had a pretty solid match this week, given way more time than Lacey's probably ever had in the ring. Lacey's matches have been pretty short. They give them time on Dynamite to really wrestle. The Shida Swole match was a real wrestling match with some serious time given to it.
Well, I feel like you're going to have to rewatch the Lacey Evans-Bayley matches, because there was a couple of them, remember? They feuded for a while on pay-per-view, so...
Yeah.
This was okay at best, I thought. This wasn't the best, women's AEW match we've seen, but it was okay. This would be me being nice, too. I thought this was the weakest match on the show.
You think Lacey could do better?
Yes. No question.
You think she's better than Hikaru Shida?
It's different. They're different styles. They're good in their own ways, better on the mic. I think her mic skills give her the edge overall.
Well, Shida doesn't talk, which doesn't help her.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought the match was good. I didn't think it was terrible. It wasn't my favorite match on the show. I thought Cody and Orange was probably the best match of the show. What did you think of the main event, Moxley versus Archer? Moxley beats Archer with a pinfall, a crucifix pin out of Archer's blackout finishing move. I don't like that when the guy hits his finisher and then you roll him up after taking his finisher for the win. Mm-hmm. You just took the guy's finisher, yet he's so... unsteady on his feet, and you're so not hurt that you could still crucifix him and roll him up and beat him. Yeah, okay. I didn't like that. I thought the match itself was all right.
Well, I thought they booked it well in the sense that they made it no DQ. It played to both their strengths, so it was better like that. I thought they kept in the ring, it just should have been too one-sided, so as long as it was a no DQ, then you can make it more even, because then Moxley needs weapons to keep it even, so that made sense. I was a little disappointed Archer didn't win. I was kind of hoping he was going to win, but to see him win would have been a huge surprise. So
I didn't think he was going to win. I didn't think the match was particularly great. I thought their match at Wrestle Kingdom was way better when they wrestled in New Japan. I was disappointed in this match. I didn't think it was very good. And then Eddie Kingston shows up. Kingston was on commentary. Eddie Kingston, first of all, he's wearing an Expos jersey. It's an old Expos jersey from the All-Star game, right, in the early 80s. Yet it's a number 27 right. Vladimir Guerrero, so the eras don't match. Vlad never wore that jersey. Never, ever, ever. Not for a throwback night, not for anything. Vlad Guerrero, senior, not junior, Vlad Guerrero, original Vlad, never, ever wore that jersey that Eddie Kingston was wearing. So if you're a real Expo fan, if you really know the Expos, you know that jersey was Fugazi, okay? That jersey might have been a real, authentic Mitchell and Ness. The problem is Vlad never wore that jersey. That jersey is barely an Expos jersey, too. They never really wore that jersey. It's like the white, but it's not like the home white, it was off. There was something about that jersey that wasn't.
I used to have that jersey, I know.
Yeah, but that's not the old home white jersey that the Expos used to have, with the baby blue for the road. The home white didn't look exactly like that Eddie Kingston jersey. The ones that the Expos really wore was not what Eddie Kingston was wearing. There was missing a stripe down near the buttons. Missing some piping.
Right, but like I appreciate the representing the Expos though to see that on a
Yeah,
wrestling show. Like I wasn't
it was
expecting that
cool.
whatsoever.
It was cool, but like if he's wearing that jersey, like at least wear somebody that was around. Like where put the Dawson, have a Carter 8 on the back, have a Tim
Hmm.
Raines 30, have that 30 Reigns on the back. Do something cool like that. Don't come out here with a Vlad Guerrero jersey, with an Expos jersey from the 80s with a player who played in the late 90s, early 2000s. Like it doesn't make sense to me as an Expos fan. I saw him wearing a jersey. I was like, oh, is that like a Gary Carter? Because I know he's from New York, Eddie Kingston, so maybe he's a Gary Carter fan because he played for the Mets. No, it's a Vlad Guerrero jersey because Eddie Kingston doesn't know anything. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And also, Eddie Kingston is representing for a baseball player that played in the era that he's dressing in. Like Eddie Kingston looks like he saw Conan dress in 1998 and was like, yeah, cool. I'm going to dress like that for the rest of my life. Why are you still wearing fucking throwback jerseys, big baggy jeans, and the bandana tied in the front like you're Tupac, Eddie Kingston? It's 2020, almost 2021. Update your style. Your sneakers are terrible. Your jeans look awful. The bootcut jeans are not 2020, my man. And that jersey, like, come on, man. You're still wearing throwback jerseys. And I would give you a pass. I would give you a pass on the jeans, a pass on the kicks, a pass on the jersey if you weren't also rocking the Tupac style tied in the front Kevin Nash 1997 bandana. You look like a fucking idiot with that shit. It's not 97 anymore. Get your shit together. Update your wardrobe. You look like a fucking douchebag, Eddie Kingston, okay? I don't know who's still dressing like that, but you dress like you're fucking Tupac Shakur, and Tupac's been dead, and so is your fucking wardrobe. Get your shit together. Stop dressing like you're a fucking Conan from... And I'm not talking about Conan the Barbarian. I'm talking about Conan the wrestler. Orale, viva la raza. He dresses like him, except it was cool when Conan was doing it because Conan was doing it in 98. Conan doesn't even dress like that anymore. God damn it, Eddie Kingston. Update your shit. You look like an idiot. I know he's like trying to be all cool and everything, but like Eddie Kingston is like one of those guys. Like I know guys like Eddie Kingston. They're in like their late 30s, early 40s. They think they're still cool, and they're wearing like throwback jerseys, and you're just like, yo, man, nobody's wearing that anymore. What are you doing? You look ridiculous. You look like an idiot. He probably stinks like cigarettes, bro.
Wow.
Guys like that always stink like cigarettes. That's what I'm saying. They do, man. You know guys like that too, man. Still dressing like that. You're like, bro, man. What are those? Are those Exco jeans that you're wearing right now? Are you wearing Exco? Is that an,
I know what you're talking about.
Is that Carl Kanai? What's happening here? Still wearing FUBU for some reason.
Tupac's still alive, so.
Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston's a flat earther, bet. I bet you. There's something about Eddie Kingston. I see him and I think, idiot. I like him. I don't know what. That's the other thing about it. I like Eddie Kingston. I like his promos. I like his passion. I've heard him on, I think it was Jericho's podcast. He came off like a guy who really likes professional wrestling. I like all of that. And maybe the outfit is to get heat, but I don't think it is. I think he shoot dresses like that. And I just want to tell him that like he needs to like update his shit a little bit because he looks like an old man. He looks like he's KRS-One still trying to rap in 2020. You know what I mean? He's dressing like Ja Rule in 2001. Ja Rule doesn't even dress like Ja Rule in 2001, you know? Even, like, I give shit to Jeff Hardy for still wearing the same Hardy Boys pants from 1996. And he still shouldn't wear those pants, man. Get new pants, Jeff Hardy. Just looks sad. You're wearing pants that are so outdated. It just looks like you can't afford new pants. And I know you can, Jeff Hardy. You're rich as fuck. And Eddie Kingston, I mean, I don't know how much AEW's paying you. So, like, maybe you don't get Yeezys. I see Kenny Omega wears Yeezys. Only Kenny Omega can afford that. Oh, and Dominic Mysterio, of course, And Dave Simon, because, Ringside Report MMA. Big bucks, baby. Big bucks. Big bucks. Business. John?
Well, you
Sorry.
may not be a huge fan of Eddie Kingston right now.
No, I am
but
a fan. I am a fan. I just had to get that off my chest because I saw the jersey. I saw the Expos thing. I knew we were going to talk about the Expos, but I was like, yo, why are you still dressing like that? Who's still wearing throwback baseball jerseys? It's 2020. No one's wearing that anymore.
Well, I think we're going to see more of it, though, because it seems like him and Moxley, that's going to be the main event of the next pay-per-view.
Yeah, probably. That's
and I'm
bad.
okay with that, to be
I'm
honest.
not.
Like, I don't think that's bad.
What? John Moxley's beat everybody. He's undefeated this year. He just beat Archer. He beats Brian Cage. He beats all these monsters. He's already beat Eddie Kingston. He choked him unconscious. How is that the main event of a pay-per-view? It's garbage. The match wasn't that good. Eddie Kingston stands zero chance of winning. He's basically a manager. You're going to put a manager up against the world champion and you're going to tell me it's a main event? Get out of here, man.
Well, the way Eddie Kingston can cut a promo, like, he can sell anything. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this is going to be a gimmick match, because
So
it's going
could
to be a
Bobby
rematch,
Heenan.
right?
So could Bobby Heenan, but you wouldn't buy Bobby Heenan against Hulk Hogan in a main event of SummerSlam, dude. Come on, man.
The funny part is they actually did wrestle each other, though. That's the funny part.
Yeah.
It may have not been like SummerSlam, but they did wrestle each other, and this is going to happen whether you like it or not.
I heard Bobby Heenan was like a fucking excellent professional wrestler. I heard he was very, very good, but he got injured and he had to stop wrestling.
He
But
bumped like crazy. That was the problem.
Yeah, I heard he was amazing, though. I don't know. I never seen him wrestle, but I loved his commentary. Eddie Kingston, I've seen him wrestle, and I don't want to see him in the main event of a pay-per-view. And I also would like to see him update his attire, okay? Just like ask Ortiz. Ask Santana and Ortiz, and they will help you update your style a little bit, you know? Ask Dominic Mysterio. He'll help you. Call Dominic. He'll give you some tips. Call me. I'll be your stylist.
Raise money for that.
I should be a stylist in general because I see people all the time wearing things, and I'm like, why would you wear that? What are you doing? What's happening over there? What are those shoes? I see people wearing shoes all the time, and I'm like, ugh. Why would you ever put those on your feet? What's the matter with you? Crazy, man. I have high standards, okay? And I need to help these people out. Eddie Kingston needs to get his act together. I didn't really check out what he's putting on his feet, but it didn't look good. It didn't look good, okay? Not impressed. Johnny?
Well, it's going to be rough for you the next couple of weeks watching Dynamite with him getting the main event push now.
Yeah, well, I'm going to keep making fun of his 2001 clothes. Eddie Kingston looks like he still listens to Limp Bizkit. Eddie Kingston...
I don't know about that. I feel Limp Bizkit was done by 2001, but
Nah, it's probably they're still kicking, but Eddie Kingston's like still into it. Eddie Kingston looks like he drinks 40s. Eddie Kingston looks like he still listens to Ja Rule. Eddie Kingston looks like he has dial-up internet.
well, it's highly doubtful now. Everyone with cell phones, you don't even need that anymore.
Eddie Kingston doesn't have a cell phone. Eddie Kingston has a pager. Eddie Kingston is from the past. I think that's what it is. I think Eddie Kingston is just from 1999. He time traveled. He was from ECW in 1999, and now he's time traveled to 2020 to wreak havoc on pro wrestling. It's a Paul Heyman experiment gone horribly wrong. Doesn't he seem like a wrestler from like the late 90s and not a wrestler from today? Like in the late 90s, Eddie Kingston, I'm like, yes, I'm Eddie Kingston's biggest fan. Today, I'm like, what era are you from? Where do you come from? He seems like he belongs in Public Enemy, you know? Like he could be one of the Public Enemy. Johnny Grunge and Eddie Kingston.
I feel like he's not that large. I feel Public Enemy were a lot heavier, but I get kind of what you're saying in a sense.
He's got like
I
the
just
Conan
feel
gimmick.
with right the Conan thing. Yes, it's not quite the same as Public Enemy, but I get what you're talking about. It's just I find that's the gimmick of Eddie Kingston. Like we didn't get to hear
Oh,
all of his promo. It kind of cut Dynamite before you heard it, but his whole thing is that he was left behind in the independents, so he never really evolved in a sense. He kind of stayed the same since the early 2000s. So that was kind of the problem. And now you're mad about Eddie Kingston. Now you're just walking off the show because I guess you don't like me talking about Eddie Kingston. But to be honest, like I honestly think Full Gear should be interesting with that as the main event. And you're also going to have Kenny Omega against Hangman Page because they've announced the tournament brackets. And the way it's kind of going to shape up, they're going to face each other by the finals.
yo, look, I'm Eddie Kingston. Yo, check it out. I'm Eddie Kingston, bro. If you're wearing a like this was the clincher for me. The motherfucking bandana tied frontwards like that, like your goddamn Tupac Shakur. Come on, man. Stop wearing like okay, jersey fine, pants fine, shoes whatever. Okay? But don't come out there with a front tied bandana. It's ridiculous. You look like an idiot. The white bandana too? At least if you came out with the red bandana, I might think, is Eddie Kingston like affiliated with the Bloods? Like, what's going on? Is Eddie Kingston really a gang member? What's happening here? No, it's a white bandana. You just look like a douchebag. Okay? You look like Justin Timberlake. You know what I mean? You look like me right now. I look like a douchebag with this thing on. You know? Front tied bandana. Looking all crazy. Fucking Eddie Kingston. Kenny Omega should be the one getting the shot here, but Kenny and Hangman have got to do that tournament you were talking about. I heard you, John. I didn't walk off the show. But I'm ending the show now because I've had enough of talking about Eddie Kingston, okay? I've seen myself now how I look, and I'm disgusted. I want to end the show so I don't look like Eddie Kingston anymore. I love you, Eddie Kingston, but stop with the fucking bandana. You look like a dick. RingsideReport.net. Huh? Get an Expos jersey, but like, get your shit together with the Expos jersey. I'm going to wear an Expos jersey next time, and I'll have the frontwards bandana. I'll dress up like Eddie Kingston for Halloween, okay? How about that? Halloween show, I'll come in dressing like Eddie Kingston.
You still get Halloween at least, so that's nice.
We're going to have a show on Halloween, Johnny. We drop on Saturdays. Halloween's on a Saturday this year. Couple weeks from Halloween. Next week, we'll do the WWE Hell in a Cell preview show, damn it. And we're also going to do a Hell in a Cell watch along in a week from Sunday. That'll be fun. WWE Hell in a Cell. The New Japan G1 finals going down tomorrow, so we'll probably update you on that as well next week on the show. And Ringside Report MMA coming up Thursday night, 8 p.m. Khabib time, baby. We're going to preview UFC 254, which is coming up on the weekend, next weekend, big weekend for 254 on Saturday, and then Hell in a Cell on Sunday. Of course, our great sponsors. Check out IP Vanish. Protect yourself on the internet. Protect yourself at all times with IP Vanish. Go to vpn.ringsidereport.net. Sign up today. vpn.ringsidereport.net. Stitcher. Go to stitcher.com/premium. They've got over 100,000 podcasts, bonus episodes, comedy albums, and more delivered right to you on your device. Go to stitcher.com/premium. Use that promo code ringside when you sign up. It's $34.99 a year or $4.99 a month. But when you go to stitcher.com/premium and use the promo code ringside, you sign up and you get a free month right there for you. Easy as pie. Easy peasy, as Oscar would say. And, of course, go to Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com. Use that promo code ringside20 when you sign up for Manscaped, and you get 20% off plus free shipping on your order. They've got so many great products over at Manscaped. Scape yourself. Take care of yourself, okay? Those people that see your balls and are near your balls, they want you to be Manscaped. They want you to look good. So go to manscaped.com. Use the promo code ringside20 for 20% off your order plus free shipping. Follow Johnny on all his things. Twitter, North Genesis, right? Twitter,
right.
North
Before
Genesis.
we go, though.
Instagram, Genesis, Johnny North. Follow me on all the things at Dave Simon MMA. What?
You notice during the main event of Raw, the Battle Royal, Oscar was on commentary, and then she wasn't on commentary. Did I miss something? Like, what happened exactly? Like, why did she go backstage?
I don't know.
Okay, I just like I was kind of confused by that. I didn't understand.
Yeah. She was
It started with her on commentary. Went to
maybe
commercial
because
break.
Randy and Drew were fighting ringside?
No, they were fighting backstage.
Oh,
So
yeah.
why would you go backstage where there's fighting?
Yeah.
Like I didn't get that whatsoever. Did I miss something? I'm not sure, but
I don't
that
know.
happened and it was like that was weird.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways,
Oscar,
just end the show oddly.
she was on commentary and then she left. She went backstage to watch on the TV. They showed her again. I didn't even notice that. I didn't even realize that until right now. You're right. That was fucking weird. I don't know. I'm sure Derek John, he's always paying attention. He always has an answer, right? The guy, I'm sure he's watching right now and he's like, this is what happened. Derek
I
John.
hope so. Like
Shout out to Derek
I
John.
can't
He's
figure it out.
loyal viewer, loyal listener, good man, and he's always got the
Definitely.
answers. When I don't have the answer, when Johnny doesn't have the answer, Derek John usually fills in the gaps. You know, I like that. I see him on the chat. I see him filling in the gaps. I see him watching every Saturday, and I appreciate you, my man, and I appreciate everybody for watching. And everybody for listening on the podcast and everybody for supporting the sponsors and hitting us up on that super chat. We do appreciate you. We appreciate you supporting the Ringside Report Network and keeping us going strong. Look at this. A 2-hour episode of Wrestling Uncensored. For you. We love you. Thank you. Bye.